Welcome to episode 7 of the New Breed podcast. I am one of your co-hosts. I am old school Browns fan, born of the Marty Schottenheimer era, Bernie Kosar, Kevin Mack. I am Mike Mitchell. This is my cohort, co-host, and son. Introduce yourself.
I am Grady Mitchell, New Breed of Browns fan. Love the Browns for a little bit now, you know.
If you've been with us through 7 episodes, you obviously know a little bit about us, a little bit about our fandom, so we won't bore you with that detail. I do have to say that this is the second time that we recorded this episode, and we had been having 2 per week, so like a Tuesday night recording with a Wednesday drop and then a Saturday drop. So this is a little bit out of the ordinary. So we thought we had it figured out. We thought we had the audio working. We had a new microphone, but that kind of didn't work. So we had some technical difficulties. We got another microphone that's really good. So we got 2 good microphones now, and I think hopefully we're able to bring you a better quality podcast. Not that there's that many people listening to us yet at all, but hopefully you guys will be able to hear us better. And on YouTube, you'll get to see us and hear us better. And we'll hopefully be bringing you some great Browns content here in the off season as we now make our way to the inevitable March 17th, beginning of the year. You want to start with the recent headlines?
Huh?
Start with the recent headlines. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's time for recent headlines. I don't know what that was all about. We start first off. I know it's been a long week, and I know this happened earlier in the week, but we start from a somber place, a place of mourning. Former Browns coach Marty Schottenheimer dies at 77 after his battle with Alzheimer's disease. Former Browns coach Marty Schottenheimer died peacefully Monday with his family at his side in Charlotte, North Carolina. Schottenheimer was 77. He had been battling Alzheimer's disease since 2014. The family announced Schottenheimer's death Tuesday morning. Quote, "We know he is looking down on us from heaven and smiling," Schottenheimer's daughter Kristen said in a prepared statement. Quote, "We are so incredibly proud of the man he was and how he lived his life. Now more than ever, he would want us to do what he did best, put one foot in front of the other and keep grinding forward, to take care of each other and take care of business, to simply be good to people and love with every single fiber of our being, to truly make the world a better place. To honor his legacy, we ask all of you to do the same. Smile to someone you don't know today, and Marty Schottenheimer will surely smile down on you." A lot of that came from the article from Nate Ulrich in the Akron Beacon Journal. I know for me, I was born into Browns fandom thanks to Marty Schottenheimer in 1984. 1984, Marty was the defensive coordinator for the Browns and stepped in to take over the team. Almost exactly halfway through the season. He finished 4-4, but then the next year as head coach would go on to the playoffs, and he was my Kevin Stefanski. Those of you that weren't around in 1984 to see those Browns in person, to be there and watch them on TV, he was our Kevin Stefanski. He stepped in, took over a team, and basically took them to the playoffs. And I think that's the best way I can describe that. Grady, your fandom started just a few years ago, and I think you're going to always have memories of Kevin Stefanski, what he's done to this team, how he's changed it, and I think he's that kind of a guy.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have any history with Marty Schottenheimer, but he seems to put a big impact on this Browns team and franchise as a whole, so prayers go out to his family.
Absolutely.
Of course. Yeah. Very, very sad loss.
What do you got next, Grady?
We have the Browns announced they promoted Ben Bloom to defensive run game coordinator. He spent his past season as a senior defensive assistant. He said this means a lot in a news release. It's a great organization. Head coach, coordinator, front office, and ownership. Everyone's been terrific to work with. It means a lot. Willing to give me a new title. I appreciate the opportunity to continue working and do my best to help the team win. Browns defensive coordinator Joe Woods hadn't worked with Bloom until 2020, but Woods became impressed. That came from Nate Orch at the Akron Beacon Journal.
Yeah, Ben Bloom, I kind of think that's pretty cool. We did not actually have a defensive run game coordinator in 2020. And I think Joe Woods was impressed with him enough in his work that he kind of created that title and moved him into that spot.
Yeah, it's really cool,
Hopefully that run defense will get better with some attention to it now.
Even better,
Even better. A couple of minor player moves that the Browns made. They waived guard Malcolm Pridgeon. Pridgeon opted out of the 2020 season due to COVID, so he was not even around last year. And they waived cornerback Robert Jackson. Jackson floated around on and off practice squad since 2019, and he did play in the Week 17 absolute beatdown victory of the Pittsburgh Steelers, ensuring our entry into the playoffs. And so for that, Robert Jackson, we do love you and thank you for your time here in Cleveland, but the Browns are moving and parting ways.
I'll take the next one here. The Browns begin at number 7 in ESPN's 2021 NFL Power Rankings. The Browns are the 4th highest ranked team in the AFC, and the 2nd highest in the AFC North. The Baltimore Ravens is only 1 spot higher than us at the number 6. The top 10 is number 1 Kansas City, number 2 Buffalo Bills, number 3 Green Bay, number 4 Tampa Bay after they won a Super Bowl.
I think that's crazy.
Number 5 the Rams, number 6 Baltimore, number 7 our Cleveland Browns, number 8 the Seattle Seahawks, number 9 the 49ers, which they clearly didn't have a great season this year, number 10 the Tennessee Titans, and number 11 the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's your thought on this list?
I think it's pretty accurate. I think I'd have Tampa Bay a little bit higher. I think they still should be the favorite coming out of the NFC after a Super Bowl win, what they did to win to get there. But I think the Rams are a little inflated. I think they think Matthew Stafford's going to be the savior of that team, and I just don't see it. The 49ers is a mystery to me. Maybe they think they're going to get healthy this year and everything's going to be fine. The other one, and you know my take on this, and probably you fans are not going to hear this from me until we get into the season. Now, I will give him his due. Lamar Jackson is an absolute supreme athlete. I do not, however, believe that he is a Super Bowl or playoff winning quarterback. I just don't think it's there. He doesn't have the intangibles, right? He can run and he can scramble and everybody oohs and ahs. And he's an incredible athlete. The guy's not a quarterback. He's just not the general on the field. I love it that, he's thrown so many, look at this touchdown pass he threw. Okay. He threw a lot of those touchdown passes because there's the threat of him running. And so you have to play defense a certain way against that. Well, some of those zones and some of those spaces are going to be open, and he knows that, and right? So he's taking advantage of that. If you can find a way to rush your 4 zone, what I would call a zone rush, where you don't give up your gaps, you don't give up the outside, you don't give up the A and B. You keep him in front of you, keep your pass blockers in front of you. Don't let him outside. He's not going to beat you. Anyway. And Pittsburgh isn't even in the top 10.
I don't think they even deserve the top 15. No offense to the Steelers, but I just don't think I don't think Ben's going to do it this year. I don't think they're going to have that 11-0 start this season. I don't think they're going to finish well either.
Nope.
Well, I think they're going to not do well like the first 15 games and then like kind of do somewhat decent and like the last like 2 games like show up somehow.
I could see that.
like out of nowhere, but then still the next season they'll still be awful. You want the next one?
I'll take the next one. Our very own Kevin Stefanski was named the AP 2020 Coach of the Year on Saturday, over a week ago now. So I told you this is a little bit dated. The NFL honors included Kevin Stefanski as he was named AP 2020 Coach of the Year. We're going to talk about some of our predictions on that later on in this show. But yeah, Kevin Stefanski, AP 2020 Coach of the Year. If there's a Coach of the Year award, he's going to win it and should win all of the awards. So did a great, fantastic job. Thank you, Kevin Stefanski.
We love you.
Yeah, we love you.
Next up, Jedrick Wills and Rashard Higgins plead guilty to speeding to settle drag racing case. I mean, I really didn't have a problem with it. An attorney for the two men said at the time that they would plead not guilty to the charges, which Will said on Twitter was a case of police blowing it way out of proportion. Cleveland.com reports that the two players did wind up pleading guilty to different charges. However, speeding was the final charge, and each player has been fined $250 to resolve the case.
Yeah, that I don't even know why we included that in here, other than at the time it was the only news that was there. But yeah, it was quite interesting. The celebratory drag race, as they called it, drag racing. Really, they were probably just having fun and probably didn't realize how fast they were going. But
yeah,
here's $250. Let us go on our way.
True.
ClevelandBrowns.com. Andrew Gribble decided to, and I love the article. I loved it. He basically took everyone else's mock draft and created a mock draft roundup. Here are some early predictions. And I have to say, we've done mock drafts here. A lot of our opinions here. And I don't know that I necessarily agree with almost virtually any of these. Don't make any sense. So starting out, he went to Mel Kiper Jr., ESPN.com. He chose corner Aaron Robinson from Central Florida in the first round. I don't necessarily, nothing wrong with that player. I think Aaron Robinson's going to be a great player. I just don't see the Browns taking him right there at 26. I think if some of your elite corners are not there, maybe even in a Fatu Melifonwu, you go edge rusher, or you go with a solid D tackle. You've got to do something. I just don't think Aaron Robinson is that pick at 26. If you go now, okay, there's three guys, NFL Network's Bucky Brooks, also Daniel Jeremiah, Sporting News, Vinny Iyer. All three of these guys have them taking Zaven Collins from Tulsa. Now, we had an early mock draft where we took Zaven Collins, and I don't think I would do that again. I really don't. I think he's an impressive athlete. He can do a lot of things, but I think you've got guys on your roster right now that are as athletic as Zaven Collins. Mac Wilson will be one of them. I think Mac Wilson could do anything that Zaven Collins could do. And so why do you need another one, right? Especially at pick 26. Is there nothing of any other value to you there at that point? Lance Zierlein has an interesting one. Lance Zierlein, NFL Network, defensive tackle Christian Barmore. Showed up big in the playoffs for Alabama. Is big, can move, is quick, would play a great three-tech across from Sheldon Richardson, I think.
Fit our scheme.
Would fit the scheme pretty well. I think he would fit in pretty well.
Especially if we don't re-sign back Larry Ogunjobi.
Right. Yeah. Which, again, a lot of this stuff's going to change after free agency fallout, right? NFL Network, Chad Reuter. He had linebacker Nick Bolton. I don't think he's on our radar at all. I had a moment in time where I thought that would be a great idea. But after watching us have to play defense against the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know that you need a big, bulky middle linebacker anymore. You need coverage guys, you need speed guys, and I don't know that Nick Bolton fits that. Chris DePrasso at CBSSports.com had us going with defensive end Jalen Phillips from Miami. Jalen Phillips is interesting there. Great athlete. Don't get me wrong on this one. Incredible athlete. But he transferred from UCLA. And I remember listening, I believe it was Jeff Lloyd, Locked On Browns podcast, who talked about his history of head injuries. And so that's why he transferred from UCLA, was to try to find a place to play, because I don't think UCLA was wanting him to play. And so I don't know that pick's going to be that high. I think the medical's going to come out. I don't know that he'll go high, maybe not even first day. But interesting pick. I love the athlete. Not sure that that's going to go again at 26. Ryan Wilson from CBSSports.com had another interesting take, and that was Davion Nixon from Iowa, defensive tackle. I like Davion. I think he's basically a Larry Ogunjobi replacement. Bigger stage, where everybody's, A game. College, at Iowa, you get to play some teams, Nebraska, that aren't really college teams, right? And so you're going to put up numbers, you're going to look good on tape, but I don't know that he can do day in, day out work against NFL guards and centers. I just don't know that he's built for it. You might be able to move him to an edge. I don't know what his edge skill set looks like, but 26 pick, I'm not sure I go that high with a D tackle like Davion Nixon. There's more guys out there. I think I was just looking at another one tonight. You're going to start to see those a lot. We decided, I think, to chill out. We probably won't do another mock until after free agency kind of starts, after March 17th. We'll lead up to the draft, and we'll start doing some stuff. But I think we're gonna slow down on the mocks until we get more depth. OBR. Orange and Brown Report do a great job of doing tape. If you guys want to check anybody out, they do edge rushers for a whole episode and just talk about edge rushers, and it's pretty cool. They do a lot of good job over there at OBR, so check them out too. What do you got, Grady?
PFF.com, Anthony Trish.
Sure.
Best case, worst case scenarios for all 32 NFL teams. Best case, I'm assuming
for the Browns. This part of the report was for the Browns.
They signed one of the marquee safeties on the open market, such as Anthony Harris, Marcus Williams, or John Johnson III. I don't see that as a bad thing. I mean, honestly, we could use any of those guys.
I just don't know that they're going to spend the money on that.
Yeah, that's an expensive thing. Worst case, not making a move for one of those top safeties and trading away Odell Beckham Jr.
Here we go again, and we're gonna hear this. We're gonna hear this all off season. Trade OBJ. I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. His skill set, his athleticism, is kind of through the roof. It would be interesting to see a full year of him in this Stefanski offense, because it was really looking pretty cool and really looking pretty good until the Bengals game, week 7, when he got hurt. The Cowboys game, just unbelievable the ways that he was being used. He was being used almost in that Tyreek Hill type of role. He ran the ball. He had that amazing touchdown run. Jarvis Landry threw him a touchdown pass. He caught one from Baker. I mean, he was all over the place that game, and I think that's his potential. And was just reading before we started recording that his report from Dr. James Andrews is that he's either healing faster than anyone he's ever seen, or he's right up at the top of that list, because his recovery so far has been incredible. I look for him to be ready for camp. I really do.
And I hope he is. Yeah.
And so now we get to probably our biggest topic of the week.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt released from the Houston Texans. And what does this mean for the Cleveland Browns? What do you got, Grady?
I honestly say we pick him up. Honestly, not a whole lot for him. Obviously, he's going to ask for, I think, a pretty high amount of money. I mean, the dude's an animal. We know what he's done in the NFL like the past 7 years. Right? 7 years.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's 32 and had one of the highest pass rush grades in PFF. He was like 10 overall, I think, at 32 years old.
So he's 32 and playing with the Houston Texans. And he's still ranking high.
Yeah. With double teams.
With double teams, because there's nobody else on that defense that can do it.
PFF actually had a rating of double teams, and J.J. Watt was 1, Myles Garrett was 3. They then translated that into most pressures by a defensive end. Of course, T.J. Watt, who never gets double teamed, was 1. Myles Garrett was still 3. He was the only guy. Myles Garrett was the only guy of that edge rusher list that was on he was in top 3 of most often double teamed, and then top 3 of most pressures created.
Yeah.
So he's an animal. And if you can imagine being an offensive coordinator and you got to figure out who you are going to block. Who am I going to double team? Do I double team J.J. Watt or do I double team Myles Garrett? Because if I single J.J. Watt on a guy, heaven help them, because they will need a lot of prayer because they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it, man.
If we get a good defensive end, it's done for anybody that we go up against. We've seen what the Rams did.
Bring back Andrew Billings, bring back Sheldon Richardson in the middle. Whew. That would be a front four that could put pressure on a quarterback.
And even if you protect your quarterback from Myles Garrett and J.J. Watt, you still got Sheldon Richardson and Andrew Billings coming up the middle.
Assuming Andrew comes back. I mean, you got other guys in there too. Jordan Elliott will be in his second year.
But I say if you sign a top 10 edge rusher like J.J. Watt, then you're getting a sack or an incompletion about every single play.
Well, and I think we were looking at an article a little bit ago where the Pittsburgh angle makes a lot of sense. He's got both his brothers playing there. I don't know that Pittsburgh's got any money. They're in the negative by like $30 million right now. And I don't even know that Ben's going to restructure enough to make that even possible that they could afford. If they can afford him, they're going to have to let tons of guys go. Hello, I'll take a couple of those corners if you want.
Any of them. Jeez.
But I think he wants to play for a contender and he wants to win a championship. And the way Cleveland showed up last year, the way their coaching staff and their organization is being run right now, it's very attractive. And it scares me to death that I just said that, because we've had years of nothing and years of horrid. Yeah. And yet now we're talking about J.J. Watt. This could be a place where he could win a championship.
And J.J. Watt coming to the Browns.
Right?
Like, whoever thought that would happen? That's pretty crazy, but yeah.
I think we have to keep our eyes on it. I know Mary Kay Cabot was talking that the Browns have in fact been in touch with his camp, and that he was going to look at offers and look things over the weekend before he would entertain any kind of decision. I don't know that they can officially sign anyone until the March 17th active date anyway, but it might come out that, he's going to agree in principle with the Browns come March 17th. So that might be a great Valentine's Day present for us.
Yeah, we might have an answer for that later.
Yeah, you never know. And I think another thing somebody said was he's 32. Our front office doesn't typically go after guys that old, or at least not right now. But somebody else said if you can re-sign Porter Gustin to an inexpensive deal, bring back Adrian Claiborne, you've got two guys right there in Claiborne and Gustin that can give him relief. He won't have to play every snap at 32. And I think that brings some flexibility in there as well. You want me to take the last story? Because I love this story, and I thought it was hilarious. You're talking about a guy in me that is on Zoom all the time, at least twice a week, sometimes 3 and 4 times a week at least. But there was an attorney. I didn't see where it was from, but he got on a Zoom call with a judge, and basically he had turned a filter on that turned him into a kitten. He turned himself into a cat. And it's fully interactive. So when he's looking down, the cat's eyes are looking down and right, left, up. It was pretty incredible. And it almost looked fake. Like you guys had to stage this just to get some attention. I don't know, but I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you put that.
Why do you do, how? Especially being in front of a judge, like that's insane. Like, imagine like trying to, dude. I was gonna say something, but that's bad. Like, imagine somebody like committed murder, and this guy is like,
Shows up.
This guy is innocent, and he's a cat. What?
He shows up on your screen as a cat. Right, meow.
You did not just say that.
I did. You must have quit my case. Right, meow. I would have lost it if I would have been.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah, you're not allowed in this courtroom anymore. I think we know. The answer.
I think you're 12, so you need to go. You got any other news right now for me?
Nah, none right now.
None right now.
Except the fact that you want to trade away Jarvis Landry.
I didn't say I wanted to trade away Jarvis Landry.
You say it all the time.
I'm saying that he's got value, and we pay him a lot of money for 800 yards a year. I just don't think that's where you want to spend your money. He's one of your top 3 highest paid players on your roster. Dude needs to get 1,000 yards receiving and multiple touchdowns. I'm just saying. And if he can't do that, especially in the system or the scheme, maybe he just needs some fast receivers that can take the top off so him and OBJ can run those intermediate routes. But I don't know. I think you're going to see a lot of change this year. I think you're going to see the transformation of Baker Mayfield into a different quarterback. I think he's going to get the ball down the field somehow, some way. I was looking at speeds. Donovan Peoples-Jones ran, I think, a 4.35 or a 4.45.
No, it wasn't a 4.45. It was a 4.3 something.
It must have been the 4.35. I'd have to go back and look at it to be sure. Don't quote me on that. But he's the fastest person on your roster right now.
Really?
JoJo Nats, and they didn't have an actual official 40 time for it, but he might be the fastest, maybe, but everybody else is 4.4.
Not even Denzel?
Higher 4.4. Nope, not even Denzel. Well, receivers. I was looking at receivers. I wasn't looking at corners. Maybe you turned Denzel into a receiver.
You said the fastest person
on
the team.
But I meant receivers.
Receiving core.
Yeah.
Not receiver core.
Yeah. Receiving core.
Yeah.
Sure. Stay tuned, though. I think that it could be a real bargaining chip for them. Somebody that's looking for a receiver, 49ers, Miami, somebody that could give us a draft pick, allow us to cut some salary, give us a chance to take a good, fast, speedy Tyreek Hill style receiver that can take the top off. You could have Donovan Peoples-Jones, Higgins, who you need to resign, and OBJ running all those intermediate routes then, and not spending as much money. But that's just me. It doesn't have to happen. I like Jarvis. I love Jarvis Landry. I think he's great, but I think numbers wise and playing rosters out, I don't know.
You ready for our...
That does it for our recent headlines. We started something here as we got into February, and we're going to continue on again today with our Cleveland Browns Black History Moment. Celebration of Black History Month by honoring and remembering those great pioneers, those great Browns players who made a difference, not just in football, but also in their communities. I know we go back to Bill Willis, where we started. He was an incredible pioneer, breaking the color barrier in football. We didn't talk a lot about his work with the youth in Cleveland or Columbus after he went back home, after he retired. Worked a lot with inner city youth in Columbus, and always was there for his community. Great human being. Today we'd like to take you on a new route. Today we are going to go to I shouldn't even say probably, I should just say it out loud, the greatest football player to ever live. The one, the only, James Nathaniel Brown. Jim Brown was born. I said James Brown. Jim Brown was born February 17th, 1936. He's a former American football player, sports analyst, and actor. He was a fullback for the Cleveland Browns of the National Football League from 1957 through 1965. Considered to be one of the greatest running backs of all time. I say he was the greatest running back of all time, as well as one of the greatest players in all of NFL history. Brown was a Pro Bowl invitee every season he was in the league. He was recognized as the AP NFL Most Valuable Player 3 times and won an NFL championship with the Browns in 1964. He led the league in rushing yards in 8 out of his 9 seasons. I said 9 seasons, and he was an MVP for 3 of those 9 seasons. He had shattered most of the major rushing records by the time he retired. And in 2002, he was named by the Sporting News as the greatest professional football player ever. He went to Manhasset High School in Manhasset, New York, attended Syracuse, and was a first-round pick, number 6 of the 1957 NFL draft of our Cleveland Browns. His history is pretty short. He played for the Cleveland Browns from 1957 to 1965. His career highlights: he was an NFL champion in 1964.
He was a 9-time Pro Bowler from 1957 to 1965.
All 9 seasons. 8 times he was first-team All-Pro, 57 through 61 and 63 through 65.
He was second-team All-Pro in 1962, which was like a mediocre year.
That must have been the down year, right?
Yeah, as you'll hear from our next couple of awards.
This list is pretty long. He was 3 times AP NFL Most Valuable Player, 1957, 1958, and 1965.
He won the Burt Bell Award in 1963.
He was NFL Rookie of the Year in 1957.
He was an 8-time NFL rushing yards leader from 1957 to 1961, and then from 1963 to 1965, that year 1962.
He was a 5-time NFL rushing touchdown leader, 1957 to 1959, in 63 and 65.
He was NFL 1960s All-Decade Team.
He was on the NFL 50th Anniversary All-Time Team.
NFL 75th Anniversary All-Time Team.
He was on the NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team.
His Cleveland Browns number 32 is retired.
He was the college football 150-year celebration greatest college football player ever.
He was unanimous All-American in 1956.
He was second-team All-American in 1955.
And his Syracuse Orange number 44 is retired. His NFL career statistics were 12,312 yards, rushing yards, 5.2 yards per carry, 106 rushing touchdowns. Now, these are the crazy stats. 262 receptions as a running back, 2,499 yards as a running back, and 20 receiving touchdowns in that era.
In that era where he did not, they didn't pass the ball a lot in that era. And
But
he still had
ended up
262
with-
receptions in 9 years.
In 2,000, almost 2,500 yards.
Yeah, almost 2,500 yards.
Just one more, man.
He also has over, I think we said, saw where he has over 52 movies accredited to him as an actor.
That's crazy.
I still think
How do you
that's the movie we need to sit down and watch. We need to watch The Running Man. We got to watch The Running Man. He was in The Running Man and did a brilliant job. He was in The Towering Inferno, I think, The Dirty Dozen. Those are a lot of older movies that you probably wouldn't want to watch. But The Running Man, you like Arnold. He can go get the Jabba, and you can see Jim Brown.
with
cool.
Arnold.
With Arnold and his flamethrowers. He was awesome. But in that, Jim Brown also is a very staunch civil rights activist. He is always in the midst of standing up for equal rights. And Jim Brown, I don't know if you're ever going to hear this podcast, but we love you. We love what you've meant to the game. We love what you've meant for the city of Cleveland and for the Cleveland Browns organization. Thank you, Jim Brown, for all you've done for those of us who are not people of color, that you would celebrate and be such a great ambassador of African Americans everywhere. Thank you.
Yep. Jim Brown being one of the greatest of all time and everything,
Absolutely.
even receiving backs.
Even receiving running backs. This has been your Cleveland Browns Black History Moment.
It's great.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. So in our last show, which was over a week ago, we just said that we talked a lot about prop bets, Super Bowl prop bets. And so we wanted to go through our Super Bowl prop bets, find out how we did, and see if you guys picked up and you guys mentioned anything. I know we had a couple people that jumped on Instagram and said some things with us, but let's go through our Super Bowl prop bets. We started with the heads or tails.
I chose tails.
I chose heads, and it was
Heads and Kansas City.
It was heads.
Won the kickoff with heads.
We didn't even choose the team. We just said the heads or tails.
Yeah, just heads or tails. But I thought I'd include that Kansas City one.
We went with the prop bet of which Anheuser-Busch brand commercial where it will air first. Grady, what did you choose?
I chose the Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade.
I chose the Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer. I thought that because it was their newest idea and brand, that would kind of be out there, but I knew that Bud Light is their big name, and it was a Bud Light commercial.
Yeah, and it was all the old Bud Light characters.
Yes, all the old Bud Light commercial characters came back. The Bud Knight,
getting kicked off the edge.
Getting kicked out, yeah, getting after he turned over the truck. But all the old Bud Light characters from commercials came back, which was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
How many commercials will have a dog in them?
Both said over 4.5.
Both agreed that there's going to be over 4.5. We stopped counting at what?
6. Well, I stopped counting at 6.
Sure, yeah.
We even counted a watermelon dog.
From the Mountain Dew commercial?
A Muppet dog.
I don't even remember what commercial that was, but yes, there was
the Sesame
Street dog
commercial. But they're dogs, okay?
They were dogs. It doesn't say what kind of dog.
Doesn't matter if they're human or not. All right.
Yep.
The next one was how many commercials will show a person wearing a mask?
It was an over-under, right?
Yeah, over 2.5 or under 2.5.
And we both said under.
No, I said under.
Oh,
you said over.
You said under. I said over. Okay.
And you ended up winning that bet. I stopped counting at 3 because I just accepted defeat. I was already defeated.
As soon as he got to 3, he stopped counting. He accepted defeat. M&M's, the Spokes candy's gonna wear a mask? And we both said no.
And it was no, and I couldn't tell you how happy we were. I mean,
they're not wearing a mask.
Yeah, it was like the first quarter. We were like super bored watching this game, and it was the M&Ms aren't wearing a mask. We win. We win. We'll have to talk about that on the New Breed podcast.
That was pretty good. Yeah. We should have just thrown this one out. It says who will speak in Frito-Lay's pregame commercial first. I never saw a pregame Fritos commercial. I don't know if they meant the one like leading up to days before. There was a Frito commercial with Peyton and Eli, and Grady said that Peyton said something first. I think we never actually saw that commercial. So officially during the Super Bowl. So we didn't track that.
The next one was, will there be a COVID-19 vaccine commercial? We both said no on that one, and we were correct.
No vaccine commercial. Didn't think there would be.
Great. We get to watch football. We don't need to learn about your COVID-19
vaccine that people are already taking and signing up for, so they don't really need to advertise it, right?
Yeah, we got healthcare workers in the audience, and you're showing COVID-19 vaccine commercials.
Come on, those people had already been vaccinated.
Clearly,
the last one was the big one. What color of liquid is going to be poured out on the winning coach?
Which was Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians. Grady said
yellow, lime, or green. I thought it was gonna be like lime, yellow.
we did have Blake White,
Blake
on
White
our Instagram said it was going to be
He
red.
said it was gonna be red.
And I, being the
Said
consummate connoisseur of Gatorade, decided that it was going to be blue. And of course,
it was blue.
it
Oh
was
my
blue.
word!
Like I
This
know,
guy's way
like I
too
know,
lucky.
like I know that blue Gatorade was going to be in that.
You did. That's why you said it.
No,
You
it was
are
a guess.
You are a man with God. Okay.
I don't think he cares about what color of Gatorade was in that jug.
Yes, he does. He cares about everything.
Well, yeah, but I don't know that that's bothering him. But anyway,
It's
that
not
was some of our
bothering
prop
him.
bets. What kind of prop bets did you have? What kind of prop bets did you see? Comment, leave us a name, leave us some ideas, things that looked funny to you. Yeah. We also talked about the NFL honors predictions because it was right before that happened. You want to run down through who the winners were and who we said?
All right. So MVP was Aaron Rodgers. I said it was going to be Mahomes, but if it wasn't, then it would be Aaron. You said that it would be Aaron Rodgers. So I got somewhat correct on that, but he got it completely right. And then offensive player of the year, we both said Derrick Henry. It was Derrick Henry.
2,000 rushing yards will do that for you.
Yeah, and being an absolute animal and bullying people on the field does that. Defensive player of the year, we both said Aaron Donald. Not even we didn't even mention TJ Watt, but I don't think he deserved it. And I said Xavier Howard, but I would have took TJ Watt over Xavier Howard now looking at it.
Xavier Howard was a pretty cool pick, though. I think he got votes, maybe.
Good. Yeah, he definitely got votes, but of course it's Aaron Donald taking it home. Offensive rookie of the year was Justin Herbert. You said it was going to be Justin Jefferson.
True.
I said it was going to be
Justin Herbert.
I got confused there. I was like,
too many Justins going on.
Jefferson. His name's Justin.
His name is Justin Herbert.
Yeah, but it was definitely between those two.
Yeah.
The stats that Jefferson put up and Herbert put up good stats, but I think he got the edge because he's a quarterback. I honestly think Joe Burrow would have got it if.
I think if Joe Burrow would have stayed, if he wouldn't have hurt his knee, I think he would have beat all of those guys for offensive rookie.
Defensive rookie of the year, we both said Chase Young. It ended up being Chase Young.
I made a pitch and I made a case for Jeremy Chin.
Yeah, you said.
But I said in the end it's going to be Chase Young.
I think Jeremy Chin deserved it, but
I agree with that.
Where they were picked in the draft really does. Like
there's
Chase
some
Young
influence there.
Chase Young was picked second. They were like, "Oh, look, it's that guy. He's like making a name for himself a little bit." And the big one.
Yes.
The coach of the year. I'll let you take this one.
The coach of the year, our Kevin Stefanski.
Type Stiansky on the paper.
Yeah, I forgot the F. I'm sorry. Don't read the typo, Ron Burgundy. I'll take the assistant because you didn't. Assistant coach of the year was Brian Daboll.
I really don't know
offense coordinator from the Bills. I said it was going to be Daboll.
I really don't know any.
And he jokingly said Alex Van Pelt.
Assistant coordinator. So I just threw out one that I knew, Van Pelt.
So let me ask you this question. If this assistant coach of the year category could have been voted on after the Super Bowl, does Todd Bowles win assistant of the year because of what he did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Maybe. Probably.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Only 9 points against the top offense in the league.
Right. So now we come to
the big one.
The big one. Our Super Bowl predictions. Grady, what did you have as your Super Bowl prediction?
I had Kansas City 37-25 Tampa Bay.
I think Todd Bowles was watching our podcast. It was like, that Grady Mitchell, I'm going to put it in his ear because I'm going to kick him right in his pants because that's ridiculous.
Right in the pants.
He can eat a bag of rocks. I'm gonna show him.
I'll show him who's 37. Who's 37 points.
I chose Tampa Bay, 38-24 over Kansas City.
Close to my score.
Even though Kansas City did not score that many points, so
it wasn't close. it was not close at all.
It wasn't.
The score was 9-31.
Yeah. And the thing is, everybody's like, "Oh, did Todd Bowles show everybody the blueprint on how to beat the Chiefs?" And I thought that night he did, but they've now got a whole season to kind of retool and change what they do with all of their coaches coming back because Eric Bieniemy didn't get hired. So they got all off season to come up with all new stuff for you to look at on tape. So don't act like that's the blueprint. It was a good blueprint. Don't get me wrong. But they had the right pieces, the right places. They knew what they were going to do. And yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, and they had a secondary, which I think if the Browns had a healthy secondary, then we might have just won against them.
So let me tell you what I saw. That was that the number might be wrong, but it's not a lot. The entire secondary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that just won the Super Bowl only made $1.75 million. So they were either they were either on rookie deals or they were on journeyman. You've been around for a while. You came off somebody's practice squad deals. So they did not spend and I think the Browns are going to look towards a similar concept, but I think we're going to do it with linebackers. I think we're going to save our money at linebacker. We're going to play as best we can at linebacker, but we're going to probably throw money at corners and safeties. But I could be wrong.
I think you're right, to be honest. I really do.
So what happens next? What happens next is March 1st is the deadline for eligible college football players to notify the NFL player personnel department of their intent to forego the 2021 season. In other words, they're going to declare their intent to be in the draft by March 1st. You're seeing a lot of guys that are going to have pro days right now. There is no combine, so it's all school pro days. March 17th effectively begins the free agent signing period. And then you have the NFL draft coming April 29th through May 1st, supposed to be in Cleveland, Ohio, but it's going to be virtual again. We were super stoked. We thought, man, if we could get this podcast rolling and get up enough, we could probably go live in Cleveland from draft day. But I don't know. Maybe we will. I told him, I said, we need to just find a hotel.
Yeah.
Just find a hotel, set up shop, set up our microphones and stuff and just go live. Just be like, screw it. I know that the draft is virtual, but we're just going to go live. We're going to watch the draft right here. Maybe go to Harry Buffalo, which has been a place of ours for many Indians games. We haven't, I don't think we've ever been to a Cleveland Cavs game together. I've been years ago, but not a huge NBA fan.
Neither am I.
But we'll have to get to Cleveland this year maybe and go to a game for the Browns.
Yeah.
You haven't been there yet, and it's pretty cool. It's an experience to say the least.
Yeah.
Being that you're just 13, I might have to keep you away from the Muni lot, but someday you'll get there.
What is that?
Yeah, never mind. You'll figure it out someday.
Oh no.
It's a tailgate party place, and it's pretty crazy. Not quite Bill's Mafia crazy, but pretty close. So we are now on to shout outs. We have a few shout outs that we got to give in this episode 7. One of those is to our one of our favorites, KJ Sparks. You have been one of our biggest fans, and we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate you offering some impact and some insight for us.
Telling us that the podcast was good.
Even though he's a Steelers fan, he's like, man, you guys are doing good. I really like that.
Yeah.
And who else?
We have Blake White for voting red on the Insta story. The Gatorade would be red on Bruce Arians, not knowing. And for listening to the podcast and being a fan.
Absolutely. You can always find him liking our posts on Instagram. So Blake White, you get a shout out, brother.
Bills fan.
And a Bills fan. It's weird because we
But,
don't have any Browns fans that are wanting shout outs and wanting Browns fans get out here. Let's go. Let's get some representation going. I'm gonna start bringing some of you guys onto the podcast with us so that way you can talk.
forcing you.
Force
we're
you.
gonna
I'm gonna
hold
force you into it.
hostage.
Hold you hostage. You are gonna be
You
on this
talk about the
podcast.
Browns.
Do it now. I think that pretty much does it for this episode 7 of the New Breed Podcast. Make sure that you get out there, leave us a review. If you're listening to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, make sure you leave us a review. Let us know what we're doing, what we can do better. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter. We have a Facebook page if you're into Facebook. You can find us, leave us messages. DMs are open. You can always get a hold of us. Let us know what you want to see. Do you want to see us do player breakdowns, position breakdowns? I think coming up, what's some of the stuff that we said we wanted to work on coming up?
Our team of the year, basically.
Yeah.
Rookie team of the year and just team of the year in general.
We wanted to go through an overall like NFL rookie team of the year. So every position, who was the best rookie.
Maybe even another mock draft in there.
Yeah, we'll probably get to a mock draft in coming episodes. I would love to go through our favorite, maybe just go through kind of our favorite Browns players at each position, talk about each position group. Maybe we'll do that each week. We'll come up with a new position group to talk about. But if you have questions, ideas, things that you want to say, feel free to say it. We have hopefully improved our audio quality over 7 episodes. And hopefully you guys are getting the best quality podcast that you can get from a dad, his son, and a bunch of just Browns fandom going crazy.
Well, I wouldn't say Browns fandom, just fandom of us, because we are very diverse.
We are pretty diverse.
I know Bengals fans, Bills fans.
That's true.
Steelers fans that are watching our podcast.
That's true. We've got Eagles, Packers, Bengals, and Browns all in one house. So we're well represented in some fandom. So got anything in closing remarks there, buddy?
No, I think that's it. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, as you said.
Yep.
Follow us on social media, obviously.
Getting the TikTok rolling if you're a TikToker.
Yeah. I still haven't done anything on there, though. Might have to.
Well, fans, we appreciate you joining us. And this has been episode 7 of the New Breed Podcast. It was a weak bark, I know. We'll get there.
Just kind of like whispering, you didn't bark.